This tutorial is for first grade, Module 4, Lesson 12. In this lesson, we're going to use pictures, number bonds, and place value charts to help us add groups of tens to two-digit numbers. For example, in problem number 1, I have some grapes. On this side, I have 12 grapes, and you can see that represented in my number bond. On the other side, I have two sets of 10 or 20 grapes. I'm going to put that on my number bond as well. My final step is to combine my two parts to make the whole of 32. This tells me that 12 plus 20 equals 32. Another way to look at that is 12 plus 2 tens equals 32, which is 3 tens and 2 ones. Since I'm only adding groups of 10, my tens digit will change, but my ones digit stays the same, and that's the pattern we want to see when we're adding groups of 10. Let's look at the next problem. Here I have a necklace with some beads. There are 10 beads on the necklace and 5 single beads outside of it. That gives me a total of 15. We'll say that 15 is part of my number bond. On the other side, I have a necklace with 10 beads. That's the other side of my number bond. And now I'm going to combine the two pictures. Well, if I have 15 and 10, I have one 10 and 5 plus another 10. That would give me two 10s and 5, or the number 25. In the next problem, I have a group of 10, and then I have 8 single cubes, so that would be 18. I'll show that on one side of my number bond. On the other side, I have two groups of 10 or 20. I'm going to combine all of my cubes, and since I started off with one group of 10 and 8 single cubes, and I'm adding two groups of 10, that means I now have three groups of 10 and 8 single cubes, or 38. So 18 plus 20 equals 38. In the next problem, I have my tens drawn as quick sticks here, so we'll count this as 10 and another group of 10, and then I have 9 single circles. So I have 29 altogether on this side, and then on the other side I have a group of 10. I'll combine those, 29 plus 10. Well, that's going to give me three groups of 10 and 9 circles for a total of 39. 29 plus 10 equals 39. In the next section, we're going to use the place value chart to help us add groups of 10. My first problem is 19 plus 10. Well, I started off with one group of 10, and I'm adding another group of 10. That would give me two groups of 10. And I have 9 ones, so I'll put that on the chart as well. That shows me that 19 plus 10 equals 29. As a number bond, we'll show 29 as the whole, and we'll break it into these two parts. 29 is made up of 19 and 10. In the next problem, I have 20 plus 14. I'm starting with two 10s. I'm adding another 10, so I have three 10s and my four ones. 20 plus 14 equals 34. As a number bond, we'll show 34 as the whole and 20 and 14 as the two parts. And in the last section, we'll use strictly numbers to help us fill in the blanks. The first problem is 13 plus 10. Well, I had one 10 and I'm adding another 10, so now I have two 10s and I still have the three ones. So 13 plus 10 is 23. Going across, I started with 19, I ended up with 39. I started with one 10, I ended up with three 10s. So I must have added two 10s. Since I have 9 in each of those, that means I did not add any more ones. So 19 plus 20 equals 39. In question number 9, I started with some amount and I added 10 and I got 26. Well, I had one 10 and I ended up with two 10s, so I must have added another 10, and since I started with 0 ones and I ended up with 6 ones, that means I must have had 16 at the start. 16 plus 10 equals 26. And my last problem shows me that I started off with some number, I added 20, and I ended up with 38. Well, I started with 2 tens, and I ended up with 3 tens. So I must have added 1 10. I didn't have any ones here, and I ended up with 8 ones. So I must have added those 8 ones at the start. 18 plus 20 equals 38.